And now here's Loki, in which Marvel puts their in-house developed, impishly handsome, wiry English dark dreamboat back to work while cramming Doctor Who, The Good Place, and The Blacklist puree'd into a more meta than meta brunch smoothie of a streaming series while glancing around, avoiding eye contact with excessive fake humility, high whispering, "Oh gee, I wonder if TV reviewers are gonna like this exact specific combination of ingredients. I mean, it's not like we've got this down to a science or anything. No, but really, how is it? Do you like it?"
Yes, I'd like both right now.
But yes, big f***ing shock, Marvel, the Hollywood studio answer to a 3.0 GPA that still got into Harvard thanks to shockingly deep extracurricular numbers and a mall karate blue belt counting for 2 extra gym credits, appears to, at least from the outset, to have crafted another above-average streaming miniseries by pairing a smorgasbord of story ideas and supporting characters from its 80-year history of comic book weirdness, fresh creative talent eager to prove their worth to the new feudal lords of the entertainment kingdom, a studio chief possibly genetically engineered by DARPA to save the American movie industry, and whichever name stars from the cinematic universe were not currently shooting a feature, but were still interested in a nice new car, boat, or addition to their house. Time will tell, of course, whether or not it has a chance of measuring up to WandaVision's medium-challenging, genre-redefining emotional powerhouse, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier's occasionally awkward but admirably gutsy topical baldness, but right now it feels primed to scratch the particular itch for quirky takes of big sci-fi, metaphysical story conceits being turned inside out by wry, deadpan actors in an unfolding mystery maze plot that fans of such things may have been missing between other bigger properties, while also giving Tom Hiddleston an immediately intriguing new context in which to play around with the character he's taken ownership of like few blockbuster-level actors in recent memory that fans should find instantly satisfying. And yes, it looks as though the stripe of Marvel fan that will tune in regardless to pore over every frame seeking clues to future storylines will find themselves more than serviced as well, though thus far, thankfully not at the expense of more casual viewers. I'll note that I'm aiming to keep this review by my definition spoiler-free in terms of specific not available by just looking up the promotions and ad material plot details and surprises, but given that the series appears to answer at least one big previously unclarified question of the entire Marvel Universe thing offhandedly within its first 12 minutes, I'd advise those trying to go in completely clean to maybe watch the first one before this review, okay? Alright. Otherwise... So, in case there was any confusion, Loki functions as a kind of direct side sequel to the second act of Avengers Endgame, i.e. the time travel heist part, wherein you'll recall that because the future Avengers made a mistake trying to steal the Tesseract from their 2012 Avengers Part 1 selves, 2012's still alive and still evil Loki was able to grab it back and teleport away, likely creating one of those new butterfly effect alternate reality timelines Professor Hulk had warned about, except it turns out that's not such a big deal, as he finds himself snatched up and thrown into a dystopian cosmic courthouse by very intimidating agents of the Time Variance Authority.
On behalf of the Time Variance Authority, I hereby arrest you for crimes against the sacred timeline.
I beg your pardon?
A kind of cosmic combination legal bureaucracy, police force, FBI, detective agency, and court system that exists to chase down Variance, which he apparently now is, for crimes against the sacred timeline. Yeah, that big lingering question I mentioned, if you've been wondering, between the Quicksilver stuff, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. inconsistencies, the Netflix stuff, etc., whether or not there was or wasn't a multiverse component to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Loki has your answer straight off. There is not. But there used to be. And there could be again, maybe, but not if the TVA has anything to say about it. See, our big conceit here is that apparently there were multiple universes at one point, but they kept getting into each other's business and making multiversal wars and destructive chaos that could have destroyed all realities forever, if not for a trio of omnipotent cosmic beings calling themselves timekeepers who whittled everything down to a single sacred timeline with a predetermined proper continuity of events for, well, everything that the TVA is tasked with protecting, which chiefly means hunting down variants like Loki who break off their fated path, and in doing so create alternate timelines which, if not deleted in time, could become new realities and restart the multiverse, which would be bad, according to the Timekeepers, wherever they are. But Loki seemingly lucks into a reprieve from deletion when Owen Wilson's TVA agent Mobius decides, for spoilery reasons, he might specifically be useful in tracking down an apparently even more dangerous fugitive variant that's skipping around the timeline, murdering entire squads of Minutemen, TVA enforcers, to steal their special equipment for sinister purposes. Loki agrees, in part because even the TVA's random desk clerks seem to massively outpower him, and also because the revelation of what was supposed to and did become of his sacred timeline self has shattered his sense of identity and forced him to confront the TVA's seemingly self-evident commitment to benevolent fatalism versus his own adherence to uniquely chaotic free will. Or both sides are working a double-cross, since Loki is literally the god of mischief and can't wait to tell anyone who will listen he just wants to talk with the Timekeepers.
Come on. What did you expect?
Mobius is, well, a cop, but also a cop pulling the only a killer can catch a killer shtick, and the judge ostensibly in charge of their investigation is Gugu Mbatha-Raw as Ravonna Renslayer, a name that Marvel Comics fans should immediately recognize as belonging to the complicated, sometime romantic interest of Kang the Conqueror, aka the guy Jonathan Majors is playing in Ant-Man 3, who may or may not be the next big villain for this entire damn mega franchise. Both the first and second episodes additionally conclude with big game-changing reveals as to the nature of the fugitive variant they're chasing that are fun and tease significant interesting directions that could get very interesting in the remaining 4 episodes, but beyond whatever big Marvel reveals or retcons could be awaiting hardcore fans, it does appear we're back in the WandaVision territory in terms of subgenre, a one-time supporting character taking center stage for a personal journey of sci-fi fantasy introspection and self-healing, while on the meta-narrative side, the Marvel machine engages in some media studies self-criticism vis-a-vis its own role as prime arbiter of the new global popular mythology, where Scarlet Witch's eerily well-timed trauma purge explored the psychology behind retreating into comfort viewing like nostalgia TV and, by association, the MCU itself, and whether or not this was healthy for us in general. As a therapeutic replacement for coping with grief or anxiety, Loki is both trying to find himself and also seems poised to be a counter-argument for the benefits of free will and chaos of a multiverse in opposition to the ordered quasi-religious fatalism of the TVA, which of course also seems to represent an internal argument as to exactly how much of the velvet glove iron fist treatment Marvel should be giving to its own stranglehold on the MCU's famously marketable shared universe continuity. Whether it succeeds or not at this goal, in fact if these are the goals and there isn't some sort of huge thematic curveball waiting now that episode 2 has dropped its okay, I guess anything can happen now cards on the table, will remain to be seen, but I find the whole thing extremely encouraging in part from how laid back it is. Sure, nobody was expecting WandaVision to pull a complete unmedia res reality break for 3 full episodes and trust the audience to stick around and catch up, whereas Falcon and the Winter Soldier took a more complicated route given the material by opening and sticking with a big movie level action crossed with TV level intrigue, but so far Loki has a dialed down melancholy TV energy that feels keyed to both the frequency of TVA's retro 50s DMV data center meets Soviet filing office aesthetic and Owen Wilson's ultra Owen Wilson-y groove as Mobius. Great casting here as it turns out. Nothing about it feels like it's in a hurry, but Loki, which fits with the world building and gives it a fresh, chilled out tempo for the main character to bounce off of. Bottom line for now, I like the new characters, Hiddleston still works, I'm eager to see where all of this weirdness goes. I'm sure Tara Strong is going to be a fan favorite as Miss Minutes, the cartoon clock who claims to be both alive and a recording, but not quite, and I'm extremely down for more. Not that I probably need to say so, but I recommend it. This should be a fun ride.